Suppose there were no wars, no famine, no hunger, no poverty, no disease, no sickness. Would that automatically prove that there is a creator? It wouldn't. So that's why we need to understand that since it would not automatically prove there is a creator, the absence of it shouldn't disprove that there is no creator.
That sometimes God might people do bad things. I don't know if it's recording, and I'm not sure because I'm not my English.
That's right. I think we will. I understand what you're saying. So you made 3 points or reasons, as far as I understood. Let me just recap them and do tell me if I've misunderstood them. So number 1 main reason, you're saying there is no real proof for the existence of creator, so why should I believe in something without any proof? Secondly, you talked about how, if there was a creator, we should not expect wars and violence and all these things that we see happening today, right? That's in a nutshell. And we also see at the same time that actually there are lots of religious people committing atrocities, bad things, and all these things. If religion is supposed to be from God, from the creator, these people who believe and uphold these religious ideologies, they should not do things like this. So essentially, these are the 3 things you've said so far. I mean, have I misunderstood, or do you think it's correct?
It's right, and in the last case, it's that I think that those people take the excuse of God to make.
People make they play the God card to justify their objectives.
Yes.
They say, God says so, let's do that. Let's oppress the whole nation because God says so. They use the God card.
That's my, yes.
Yeah.
That's why
So that's why I understood it. My name is Mansur. What is yours?
Natalie.
It's a pleasure speaking to you because at least you have been quite open to the reasons why you think, not you think.
Yeah, in a way, I'm really thinking that sometimes it's good to believe in a God because it helps to let's say, I don't know if the word is good, but overpass things which are very tough. Let's say that when you lose someone.
So it's an emotional support, you're saying. So people, when they're grieving, when they're in a depression, when they're not so
I understand
well.
that.
So you're saying this is something they hold on to, some kind of solace and emotional support people have to feel better, right?
Yes.
So that's your 4th reason so far. Is it okay if I were to go through each one of them to at least give my take on this, why I might consider them not to be strong enough reasons?
Okay. Yes.
So let's deal with the very last one. You see, you don't need religion or anything to give spiritual support. There are people who have this kind of mental health, and they can get support from mental health advisors to have their problems solved, whether they have anxiety or depression, or they're grieving, they're mourning, like people are mourning like in England or elsewhere. So there are many mental health practitioners who would not give you a religious prescription of how to cope, but they can give you ways of release your stress and anxiety. So yes, it's possible people can use that, but it's not necessarily that religion is being used, because you can use so many different mechanisms, coping mechanisms for that one. Let's go backwards. Your 3rd example about if people were believing in a creator, they should not have acted unjustly in this way and commit all this oppression and suffering, aggression and so on. But you see, these things I think need to be understood properly in context. Those people who do that, they're not actually religious themselves. The people who commit aggression, if you look at their belief system, whether they are Muslims or Christians or Jews, their religious scripture does not say you commit aggression and extremism and torture, genocide. If you think about it, religious scripture doesn't talk about that. It talks about how human fraternity and brotherhood, compassion and mercy between people. I mean, vast majority of the people. So those people who do that, they themselves are not religious. If you examine their lives, there's something wrong with their life. Either they lost their job, or their, whatever the position they're in, no wealth, no fame, no power, no girlfriend, no husband, no wife. Many reasons precipitates them to go into extreme behavior. It could be that they were not, number one, they were not educated in their religion, firstly, because the religion should say that don't do these things. And then they realize because of some kind of other conditioning, they put down other people. They say, like, you are a black person, you are the devil. Or you're a white person, you are the devil. So they start oppressing these people and doing all these kind of things which you would say, that's not how it should be. So people's misunderstanding of how humanity is one, it leads them to be racist, leads them to be someone who commit some kind of tribalistic ideas, like, oh, I belong to the tribe of England, I belong to the tribe of France. And if a plane is about to crash because the engine's gone broke, and it happened, newspaper reports this, there are people who'd say, thank God there were no Britons on the plane. But do you know that that's inherently racist? What about the other people who are not British? What about the other people? So people often go by this kind of nationalist ideas, and that leads to oppressing others. So it is not the religion. Now, going back to your second reasons, you see, let me give you a counterexample. Suppose there were no wars, no famine, no hunger, no poverty, no disease, no sickness. Would that automatically prove that there is a creator? It wouldn't. So that's why we need to understand that since it would not automatically prove there is a creator, the absence of it shouldn't disprove that there is no creator. Okay. Do you follow so far?
Yes,
right.
I follow you.
Fine.
Okay.
Now, coming back to the very main and the most important argument that you have raised, there is no proof. Now, when we talk about proof, sometimes it's possible that we are not seeking the proof, we are not given the proof, we haven't analyzed the proof, or the proof simply is not something that we don't know what it is. To give you an example, have you seen my brain?
Neither.
You haven't. But you assume there is one, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah? Because the brain is the one that helps me to talk and interact with you and so on and so forth. It's that machine that keeps me interacting with you so far. So this is an assumption. But you are quite happy with that assumption, and that is an assumption that is almost equal to proof that I have a brain. Even though you haven't seen a CT scan or an MRI. X-ray probably not see visibly. MRI or a CT scan, this is the imaging that we do to see. I work in a hospital, so I can tell you exactly hundreds of images that we see every day of people's internal body parts, whether their brain and so on. So not having seen one does not stop us from believing and accepting, and even accepting as a matter of evidence that you have a brain. So there are many things. Another example, I'll limit to only two. Gravity is something that all of us accepts. We haven't seen gravity, we don't know what color it is, we don't know how it feels, how it is able to touch, so we can't touch it, feel it, smell it, we can't see it. None of our five senses can see gravity. All we see is what? The effect of gravity. If something falls, we say, because of something that is there, which we say is gravity, that is the force that is pulling everything towards the center of a larger body compared to a smaller body. You see, everything else is attracted back to the center of this earth because the earth exerts this force of gravity because it's bigger than everything else. But if you had a force more than the gravitational pull, you would be floating or you go outside the space. And that is the technology we used to go outside the space through our, in the orbit and put our satellites. A force greater than that. Now, so we have asserted the existence of gravity from what? From the effects of gravity. We don't know what gravity looks like, or we don't even, you see, we are postulating maybe there are something called gravitons, like electricity and electrons, photons, maybe there's something called gravitons. We have not proved anything yet. But we are ready, scientific community-wise, that there is this force which we see the effects of. So if we were to now go by this principle, that yes, if we can see the effects of something, effects of an agent or effects of a cause or a causative agent, we can accept the existence of it. Okay? Right. Many of the evidences that you will see is based on this principle, that we see the effects of the creator placing, creating, originating this universe, and that's all we see. Because other than accepting that originator, the cause, it is not rationally explainable the existence that we see. To give you now a breakdown of what I mean. But even before, if I were to say that, before I go into this, what proof would satisfy it? And you'd say, now I am convinced, I am certain that there is a creator. Because we have to be ready to accept evidence when it's an evidence which is reasonable. We may not know what it looks like. To give you some thing that people see, people ask and demand. Shall we go this way?
Hunchbacks!
Yeah. Imagine someone from the sky says, It's okay. Okay, less noise from there. Imagine you see in the sky some image, and it then tells you, who are you so far? An image, and then you hear a voice, and the voice says, I am God. I created all of these things. Now, there might be some people who believe in it. Would you believe in it? I would probably not, because I might think, okay, is there some kind of projection there where is some kind of trickery happening, voice projection, image projection? Could I be deluded? Could I have some kind of illusions, historic illusions? Or have we been gassed to see all this kind of, if you have neurochemical agents and they exert all these effects and now we are imagining things, we are seeing mass delusion. It's possible. Have you heard of people seeing the image of Fatima or someone in Spain or in Europe? Yeah, from the Catholic people. Mass delusion happens. Okay, that's from our perspective. From their perspective, they see the real thing. So it is difficult for one to understand and accept that this thing we're now saying in the image is actually God. We will question it. We would not be convinced. Okay, so what would be convincing is the question. I would leave that for you to ponder.
So I will have a lot of things to...
Yeah. But I want to go back to how it's demonstrable that there is a creator. Quite simply. You see, there are things that exist in our existence, and majority of the people accept that we exist, things around us exist. You and I exist. I affirm that you exist, and I'm sure you affirm that I exist too. But there are people out there who are very hyper-skeptical. They say, I don't know whether you exist or not. They're not even sure that there are brain in a jar in a museum or not. That's kind of hyper-skepticism. But I think for yourself, you are not that hyper-skeptic, right? Do you affirm that I exist? Good. So let's take it from there. You see, when we have existence, there's something. This something could not have originated by nothingness at one point in the past. And why I say that, nothingness is the absence of everything. That's how we define nothingness. Nothing means no energy, no space or time, nothing. So if there was nothing to begin with, sometime in the past, there would not be something at all. There will never be something. The fact that we have something means there has to be always something. Whether it's 13.6 or 8 billion years, or even before that, there always have to be something. That's the most rational thing. Now here is the problem. Either the universe or matter was always there, or the one who originated was always there. Because there has to be something always there. Our universe, our scientists are telling us, wasn't always there. So, if it wasn't always there, it has to be brought about by something. And that something must have three essential characteristics: existence, will, and power. Because if that didn't exist, let's call that the originator of our universe. If the originator didn't exist itself, it could not originate the universe. If the originator did not have power or energy, it could not bring about something. You need energy to do any work. If it didn't have the will to bring about like this, it would not follow. Like, do you ever see, like, you sit there in your home and then everything happens by chance if you don't will it? No food will be on your table, dinner table, if you don't will to go and cook it. Yeah. So the originator will be existing and will be self-aware with a will and with energy or power. We already have come to reasonable assertions about the originator of our universe. You see? And then from there onwards, you can logically and rationally deduce there can only one of those things. There can only be one of these originators. If there are more than one who are absolute like this, they will fight among each other and there will be all corruption, ruin, and there will be nothing like that. But we see look how everything's in their own orbit, circulating, very precise. You've heard about the gravitational constant. We talked about many things like that, demonstrating there is one agent who is in control.
But you see, that's why I do not create in God. In fact, it's because 2 days ago we went to the history museum here in London, and in fact, everything is a kind of hazard. I don't know a word in English, but you see, it's. The life was created like this. There is no no one which is at the real beginning. In fact, there is no originator. There is nobody. It's hazard. That's what I believe.
In the museums,
yes,
or in the scientific field today, people are struggling to understand what we call the origin of life from matter.
Yes, but it's original, it's physics or chemistry.
Yeah. So this evolution that you probably alluding to is only talking about evolution of living things, living life from dead matter or organic matter. Matter, life. People are still struggling to explain that because abiogenesis is that science in which it's describing that process and still so many different processes. Richard Dawkins believed life came from outer space because he could not explain, or he doesn't have the reasons to convince himself that life arose from this universe by all these chemical reactions and so on. So even prominent scientists like that. But I'm going not on life, on the very existence of matter. Matter is either always there or it wasn't. We know it was always there. That's the current understanding of science. And even if it was always there, you have to postulate, you have to give matter consciousness, will. So that again gives a cause, an agent, a causative agent, an agency with a will. An agency, the will, is already a personal entity, a personal being. So even if you go to a museum, they do not help us to solve this problem that we have, that there has to be something that originated all of that, who has a will, self-awareness, power. At least three things.
Okay, so I will go because, but really you are very good as a demonstrator. It's very. It was a pleasure to talk to you, or that you talk to me.
No, it was a pleasure speaking to you. Okay. I'm a Muslim, right? Yes. We believe in Islam, and our basis of Islam is based on solid foundation. We don't believe just by blind faith. There are things we take by faith after all of these things we believe with proper proof and evidence, because otherwise people can believe in anything. People can believe this tree is God. Many people believe that. Yeah. So I would highly recommend you to read the Quran. The Quran is, we say, is the guidance from our Creator, why we are created.
Yes.
Do you even know why you were created? If you believe in a creator, we need to know, right? We should know why the creator would have created us. And how to live our life here without causing any problems, without causing aggression and terror and oppression with people and so on, but to live in peace, tranquility, mutual harmony, with no differentiation between black people or white people. In fact, Prophet Muhammad, he is the last prophet of Islam, right? Okay. So as Muslims,
so I am convinced I should read the
Quran and read about the biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So I will try to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure speaking to you. Take care. You too.